speechless when I think about domestic violence and the effect that it had on my life as a child growing up. It was nothing for me to hear glass shattering and guns going off and blood flowing. And I was just a little girl, and I never understood exactly what the anger was about and what all of the uproar was about. And I started questioning, why is it that women accept this type of grueling punishment when actually the perpetrator often says, you brought it on yourself? And I began to question and wonder, what happened to her that would make her stoop so low and feel so unworthy of life itself that she would allow someone to blacken her eyes and her children watch her scrambling for the door. And I got to stop by the book table at Genesis one year for the luncheon. And they had this little book, Noah's Magic Shoes. I think that so many of our women have forgotten that they were once little girls and that they had a promise, and they believed that that promise could not be withstood, and that they would be able to reach their goals, and that they would be able to be great moms and educators and engineers and maybe the president. But I was thinking, not only is there a faceless Jane Doe, but there's also a baby Jane Doe that has grown up in this environment. And without Genesis, she's gonna think it's okay. Without men like Mr. Staubach, the boys are gonna think it's okay. So at the Potter's House, we have developed a program where we are empowering our young girls and our young boys at an early age to say domestic violence is not accepted, nor to be tolerated, nor to be placed on anyone. Keep your hands to yourself, little Johnny. Keep your hands to yourself, little Jane. We have a responsibility. As beautiful as this setting is, we have a responsibility to the next generation to let them know that there are better ways of living. There are better ways of communicating. We have to educate them at this age so that they won't grow up thinking that that's all that they deserve. I'm so delighted that my husband has linked arms with me, and we've declared war against domestic violence. It will not be tolerated in the pews of the church because it's happening there too. It's not just on the streets, it's happening in the church. And we had to take off our blinders and realize that the church is full of people that are hurting for various reasons. And so we started teaching the men about anger management, and we started a program called Starting Over, where women that have been abused and victims of abuse have come into the room for 8 weeks just to learn more and more about who they are. I think it's a lack of identity that causes women to stoop that low. I believe that's what was going on in my house when I was growing up. My mama didn't even know how valuable she was. So we have to get in front of it. Let's start talking to our baby girls. Let's start talking to the baby boys and teaching them how to control their anger, how to channel their anger, how to address their issues. We found out that we needed to educate, and that's what we're doing. We're empowering and we're educating the disenfranchised women that come through our doors by the thousands every week, all dressed up with no place to go. And if you're familiar with a lot of the church history of late, there have been many pastors and many laity that have actually beat their wives, killed their wives, and then killed themselves. So while we're all going to church and singing glorious hymns, the reality is that the people in the pews are people. So if, as Mr. Staubach said, 1 out of 4 women, that means in this room, there are Jane Does, smelling wonderful, all dressed up and afraid to go home. It is for you that I stand tonight, and I give you a face, and I let you know you're better than what you're experiencing. Thank God for Genesis. Thank you, Molly and Doug, for opening up your lovely estate. And thank each of you that came out to say, Noah's magic shoes are important. Let's let our children be children, and let's arrest the travesty of domestic violence, one table at a time. Thank you.